Hello and welcome to ATech. My name is Akshay and we are back with a new part of this tutorial series, and today we will learn what is reflection in C#. So these are the contents that we will be discussing, that is reflection in C#, what is early binding and late binding in C#. So first of all, what is reflection? Reflection is a phenomena which provides ability to a program to determine its metadata at runtime. Okay, so now what does this mean? We will see directly in an action, but before that there is one point, that is second point. A metadata is stored in the memory as an object of a system.type under CLR. Okay, so we will see this also in an action directly, so don't worry about that. But before that there is a term, that is CLR. So under CLR it is stored as an object of a system.type. Now first of all, what is CLR we have understood, and we have learned in a very great detail that what is CLR, that is common language runtime, in the .NET Frameworks tutorial series. Okay, so if you guys not aware about that, and if you guys have not watched my .NET Frameworks tutorial series, so then I strongly recommend you guys that please go and check that series, that is .NET Frameworks tutorial series. So you will understand everything about .NET, that is basic thing about .NET, as well as what is this CLR, that is common language runtime. Okay, so now coming back to this video, so let's just see what is reflection directly in an action, and for that let's just switch to Visual Studio. Okay, so now there is a class, that is system dot, that is a type class which is present in the system namespace, that is this class, that is type. Okay, and if we go ahead and go to definition of that class. Okay, so it is present in this system namespace. Okay, and this has this many methods or maybe properties, that is instance as well as static methods. So here there is one method, that is this get type. Okay, and there are several overloaded versions of this get type here. Okay, so we will use this get type method, that is this, and I will show you that what that method will do. Okay, now I will create a variable of that type class, that is type t is equals to, and we know there are static method, that is in this type class there is a static method called type dot get type. Okay, and what that get type method expects, that expects many things, that is this has a several overloaded versions, that is 6 overloaded versions it has, but I will use only one overloaded version which accepts the type. Okay, that is type name. Now I will give a type name of this very program which we are using. Okay, so there is a namespace, this reflection in C#, and under that namespace there is this class, that is this class program. So namespace dot class name, this is nothing but a fully qualified name of that type. Okay, and now if we go ahead and show that type onto the console like this, so we will get that type. Okay, and if I run this, okay, so reflection dot program, we got the type. Now you guys might be wondering that, okay, so what is the big deal in that? That is where by ourselves have provided this name, and this is the same name it is showing onto the console. Okay, so let me just give one another name here, like test dot program, and let's just see that if it gets printed onto the console, and I will run that, nothing is printed on this console. Okay, so as you can see here, that's because this type doesn't present in our assembly. Okay, so this type class only provides you the type of the name of that type which is present in this assembly. So this is nothing but that type class, and object of this type is stored onto the memory having a metadata of this class, that is we can say this assembly. So this assembly's metadata is stored onto the memory as an object of this type, that is this class, that is which is present under the system namespace. And that's what mentioned here. Reflection is a phenomena which provides the ability to a program to determine its metadata at runtime. And how that metadata is stored? This metadata is stored in the memory as an object of a system.type class under CLR. and that's how compiler comes to know, and that's how compiler finds assembly during runtime. And if you guys recollect, if you have gone through the .NET Frameworks tutorial series, in that we have learned how compiler finds assemblies during program execution, during runtime. So that's how compiler finds assemblies during runtime using metadata. But where this metadata is stored, and what kind of a mechanism compiler use? Compiler uses this reflection mechanism to find out assemblies during runtime. Okay, and there is this type class which is present in this system namespace, which compiler uses to find metadata of an assembly. Okay, that is metadata of a program, and that's what this reflection provides a program, that ability to find out its own structure, its own metadata at runtime. Okay. Now what is early binding and late binding? So early binding is the process of binding object with functions at compile time, is called as early binding. And in contrast, late binding is the process of binding object with functions at runtime, is called as late binding. Okay, so now let's just see that what does this means. For that, let's just create one simple class here, that is student, and I will give that name as a big S, because that is a convention. We should always follow a convention. The class name should always be letter. Okay, so that is why. Now maybe this has some properties here. Okay, 2 or 3 properties maybe. First property will be first name. Also this property name should be capital letter, that it should start with capital letters. Okay, and name, that is last name. Let's say we have a constructor here, and why I am taking all these things, that is constructor as well, I will explain you in a bit, so don't worry about that. Let's say this has a constructor. Also let's say this has one method which will print that first name plus last name, that is full name. Okay, so public void print full name, and it will simply just print the full name by concatenating that first name as well as last name with each other, and it will I will show you that, and I will show that onto the console. Like this. Full name is equals to first name plus last name. Okay, so if you guys might be wondering that is this the only way we can show that output onto the console, like by concatenating this with a plus operator? No, we have already learned there is another way, that is placeholders. We can use that also, something like this, 0, and here on the 1th, that is first place, we will take first name here, and second, that is last name. So that is this place will be replaced by this first name, and this place will be replaced by this last name. Okay, and let's just see that if it happens, and it should work, there is no problem in that. Okay, so for now I will comment that. Okay, and I will create that student class, that is object of the student class, and in that object I will initialize that first name to Akshay maybe, and as dot last name is equals to Borje. Okay, and we have a method that is print full name, which will going to print that name onto the console. Okay, and I will get rid of this for now, and I will run this. Okay, so it is printing that full name, and that placeholder also works. Okay, so there is no need always use, so there is no need to use concatenations, that is string concatenations always. Okay, so this is how also we can show the message onto the console. Okay, now fine, but we are not here to see how this console works and how this message are getting printed onto the console, but we are learning early binding as well as late binding. Okay, so now this is nothing but an example of early binding. Now compiler is already aware of this class, that is the student class, at compile time itself. Okay, so if I go and comment this class like this, okay, and now as you can see that error is throwing, compiler is giving error here. Okay, the type or namespace name student could not be found. Are you missing a using directory or an assembly reference? So now at this time, this is nothing but early binding. Compiler is checking that at compile time itself. So that is why in early binding, their compiler should always know that what is the type for which the compiler is allowing to create instance. Okay, so now that is why this class should be aware to the compiler at compile time itself. That is, this is nothing but an early binding, and compiler is aware. Okay, so this is a class and it is allowing us to create instance of that class, as well as compiler knows there is this property in this there is this property inside this class which is compiler allowing to call us on this object, as well as this method which is present inside this class, which is also compiler is allowing us to call on this object. And now how is this possible? Okay, so we have learned this many a time, and we have heard this many a time. By creating instance or by creating object of a class, we can call the member of that class. But have you ever thought, or have you ever wondered that how it is working behind the scene, or implicitly, how compiler is doing these things implicitly? So let me tell you guys that if you guys think that we are doing something like this, that is calling this method onto this object, and we are passing nothing here, even though this public method, that is this print full name method which is public, so it is expecting nothing, that is there is no need to give any parameter here, but compiler implicitly provides the address of this object, that is the student class object, in this method, and compiler passes that object inside this, and that's how compiler provides a space in a memory for that object and their related members. Okay, so if you guys are confused, so let me show you that. If I press and s here, okay, so this is nothing but a symbol of an address. So that's how compiler implicitly provide an address of this object, and it passes along with these functions, and that's how it comes to know at runtime that okay, this is the method belongs to this object, and it allocates the memory for that object and their members into the stack or into the managed heap. For the object, it should be managed heap. Okay, so this is nothing but an implicit, that we have to doesn't worry about. That compiler will take care of implicitly, but that's how it happens, and that is nothing but an implicit process. And in compile time itself, a compiler passes the address of that object alongside this function, but in late binding, compiler will come to know about this class also, which compiler is allowing us to create instance for at runtime only, and at runtime it passes that object, and at runtime it comes to know, that is compiler comes to know the object, and it passes that address of an object with that function, and the compiler does that binding with the object and functions. So that's what mentioned here. The process of binding object with functions at compile time is called as early binding, and in late binding, the process of binding object with functions at runtime is called as late binding. Okay, so now let me give you an example of a late binding. Now I have already told you there is one this type class which is present under the system namespace. We can use that type class only to implement late binding in C#. Okay, so and how is that possible? Let me show you. For now, let me comment out this. Okay, and I will get rid of this as well. Okay, so now we know we have commented this class, but anyway we know we can have this class here. Okay, so let's just try to find the metadata of this class, okay, at runtime. Okay, so for that we will pass that here, and the namespace is this reflection in C#. Okay, that is namespace plus class name. Okay, so this is nothing but a fully qualified name we have to pass. Now we have the type of this class that is stored in this T. Okay, now we already seen this type class has several properties, several methods. Okay, so let's just see again. Okay, so this has this much properties as well as so many methods here that are present inside this class. Okay, so there might be, okay, so there are several methods, that is this get constructor as well as this get methods, okay, as well as this get properties. Okay, so there are several methods, and let's just try to use that. Okay, so now from object we can able to access that, because we know those methods are not static. Okay, as you can see, it is not a static method, so we have to access that onto the object. Now I have created already that object like this. Okay, so t dot get, let's just try to find out what properties, what methods, or what constructor this student class contains. Okay, and how we can see that, how we can find that there are these methods present inside this type type class, and we can access that something like this. Okay, so now what this property is returning, we can see that here in the IntelliSense it is returning an array of property info. So we can store that inside the type of property info, which we can access that, because okay, but now why it is not showing me IntelliSense, because now this property class, this method class, method info class, that all the present inside the reflection namespace, and that's where we can use this reflection to implement the lead binding. That's how we are using this reflection. Okay, so there is a using system dot reflection namespace, and inside that namespace there is this class property info. Okay, so like this, and I will name that as property list. Okay, yes, and it is an array and not the single property we are returning from this get properties. Okay, and similarly there is a method info class present inside that reflection namespace. Okay, and using that we can store actually the method list, that is several methods or list of methods that are present inside this type, that is this reflection in C# dot student. Okay, and how we can do that also, how we can find out, by using the t dot get methods method. Okay, like this, and similarly there is t dot get constructor method present inside that t only, that is this object of that type t, that is that object of that type class. Okay, and it is also returning info, and that is array of info which is constructor info. Okay, so we can use that class, and which is present inside, again it is also present inside that reflection namespace only. Okay, and it is also returning an array and not the single constructor. Okay, so constructor list is equals to, and now to find out that, because we know this is nothing but an array, so we have to loop through that, and we have to show that onto the console by using for each loop. Okay, so how we can do that, by using for each like this, where property in property list, and we will show that onto the console like this, console.writeLine, and that property like this, and we will give one message here, that is console.writeLine list of properties like this. Okay, and similarly we will repeat the process for constructor and method as well. Just instead of property I will make here as a method, and here also a method, and we will loop through method list like this, and here constructor, and similarly here constructor, and we are looping through constructor list. Okay, and now I will print this, and let us see what happens. And nothing will show onto the console for now, and I will tell you why. Okay, and instead of that there is an exception, that is null reference exception, object reference not set to an instance of an object. Now this is nothing but a runtime error. We have not encountered that, or neither we have encountered with any error or any warning in this compile time itself. Okay, so even though we have not any kind of a class, something named with this student. Okay, so we have commented this in this program, we have commented this, so obviously there is no such class present inside this namespace, that is this reflection in C#, but it is not giving that error in the compile time itself. Okay, it is compiler is not giving any error at compile time. It is letting us compile that, and it is throwing that error at runtime. So this is nothing but a late binding, a perfect example of a late binding. But now if this class would have been present here, if I uncomment this, and now if I run this, okay, so it is giving every message, every properties, every constructor, and every method that are present inside this class. But let me just arrange that in some readable format. Okay, that is, I will just give one space here between those properties and methods. Okay, console dot write line and same. Okay, so we don't have to take that here. Okay, so anyway this is a last property list. Anyway this is the last list which is of a constructor list. Okay, so we will run that. Okay, so these are the list of properties present inside that class. These are the list of methods. Now you guys might be wondering, there is no method, that is this equal, get hash code, or get type, or toString we have provided in this class. Okay, we have only provided this print full name method, but as we have already learned that every type implicitly and indirectly inherit from the system.object class in this C#, and that system.object class provides these methods to every class or to every type that are present in the C#. Okay, that is this method, that is this get type, toString, equals, and let me show you that class today. Okay, that is that object class. If I go here, go to the definition of that object. Okay, so there is this class object present in the system namespace, and there are this method, that is this equals, reference equal, this equals, get hash code, get type, toString. So all these method will ultimately be provided to all the types in that we declare in C# or that are present in the C#, because though all those types are indirectly and ultimately inherit from this system.object class. Okay, and that we have learned already in this tutorial series. If you guys not aware about this thing, just go and check this previous video or the starting videos of this tutorial series, and you will understand. Okay, so now as you can see, these are the methods, properties, and there is one constructor with void return type which is present inside this class. And let's just add another constructor here which will take one parameter, public, or let's say it will take two parameters, public student string first name string last name. Okay, and we will store that inside our property. That means we are initializing that to our properties, whatever is coming in that constructor. Okay, like this. Last name is equals to that last name coming in this constructor. Okay, and we will again run that, and let's just see that if we can see that onto the console. Okay, so that constructor also gets added in this console output. That is, we have this constructor now which is taking two parameters, that is both these parameters are of the string type. Okay, so this is how compiler can inspect the assembly's metadata, that is this program's metadata at runtime without having that class at compile time. Okay, so if you guys might be wondering, we have this class, that's why it is giving that output, but when we did not have that class as well, like if I comment this again now, if I do that, so we are not getting any error at compile time. Okay, so we are providing that name here, and we are writing line of code here to get properties methods of that type, but compile time, if I build this Ctrl Shift B, so we will not get any error at compile time. Okay, as you can see here, but we will encounter with the errors or exception at runtime. So this is nothing but a late binding. So, and this is how compiler can inspect the metadata of an assembly at runtime. Okay, let me uncomment that. Now similarly, we can have the property name type separately there. Okay, something like this. If I concatenate property dot property type as well, so we will get that type separately like this. Okay, so let's just see that. Okay, so this is system.string.firstName, this is a property, and this is system.string is the type of that property that we can separately find. Okay, and similarly, if I remove all this and if I want only the name, okay, so we can have that as well. If I run this now, so we are getting only the name of that property. Okay, so this is nothing but a late binding, and this is how reflection can be used to perform late binding in C#, and compiler comes to know at runtime about the metadata of that assembly using that reflection only, and this information gets stored in the memory as an object of that type class. Okay, so now let's just quickly see the summary. So compiler uses a reflection to find an assembly during runtime. We have seen that. Early binding is implicit in C# and also called as static binding. Okay, so now early binding is also called as the static binding because it is implicit in C#. If you can see here, this class is present in this namespace, and if we create object of that class, that is student class, like this, so compiler is aware of this class at compile time only. So the compiler will do the binding at compile time only. Okay, so when we call this method from this object like this, so to perform binding, compiler will use early binding, that is the early binding mechanism here. Okay, so that's how, and this is nothing but what we have done here. This is nothing but a late binding, and that we have done explicitly. Okay, that is here, which takes place at compile time. Also it reduces the chance of error being encountered as it is occurred at the compile time itself. Okay, and I have shown you that if we come to know that at compile time, so it was throwing an error at compile time itself, but in contrast during late binding we have encountered that with that unhandled exception, that is the system null reference exception at runtime. We have come to know that runtime. So that is why this late binding is also called as dynamic binding, which can be performed using reflection in C#, and there is a chance of more errors being encountered as it takes place at runtime. Okay, so we have seen everything, and this is how reflection works in C#, and this is why we use reflection in C#. that is also reflection is used by compiler implicitly. And that's it for today. And if you guys not have subscribed already to this channel, so please subscribe to this channel, like, comment and share this video with more people, and we will meet soon in the next video of this tutorial series. Until then, stay tuned and thank you.